I want to start today by asking you something, and I want you to actually sit with it for a second. When was the last time you finished a day and felt genuinely okay? Not perfect, not like you crushed it, just okay. Like you did what you needed to get done and you weren't completely hollowed out by the end of it. If you're struggling to remember, this episode is for you. And honestly, it's for me too. I've been there more times than I can count, and I've spent a lot of times trying to figure out why, when nothing catastrophic is happening, everything still feels like so much. I'm Christina Perry, and welcome back to another episode of Smile Sessions. This is the podcast where we discuss ways to live healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives. Okay, so let's get into it. I just want to talk about something that I think gets massively misunderstood. And it's this: the feeling that everything is overwhelming, even when nothing is technically wrong. Because here's what I've noticed, both in my own life and in conversations with those who listen to this podcast, is that overwhelm doesn't always come from big, dramatic things. It doesn't require a crisis. It doesn't require some catastrophic event. Sometimes overwhelm is just Tuesday. And what makes that so confusing and honestly kind of painful is that when there's no obvious reason for the feeling, we start turning inward. We start wondering if there's something wrong with us. Like, why can't I handle this? Other people handle this. Why does it feel like I'm carrying 1,000 pounds when my to-do list is technically manageable? I want to start there because that internal questioning, that second layer of shame on top of the overwhelm, that's often what drains us the most. So let me explain what I mean. There's this thing called decision fatigue. And if you've heard the term before, maybe you filed it away as this abstract productivity concept. But I want to bring it down out of the clouds and into your actual life. Because once I started seeing it, I could not unsee it. Every single day, before most of us have even made breakfast, we have already made dozens of micro decisions: what to wear, whether to check our phone, what to eat, whether to respond to that text now or later, whether to put the thing to do today on the list or risk holding it in our head, whether to exercise, whether to feel guilty about not exercising, and that's all before 8 a.m. Now, here's what the research actually shows, and here's what I felt in my body long before I even read about it. Our capacity to make decisions is not unlimited. It's a resource. And when that resource gets depleted, even small choices start to feel massive, and simple tasks start to look like mountains. And a sink full of dishes in the moment can feel like a moral failure. And I didn't realize that at first. But that's not weakness. It's biology. That's a nervous system that's been running at capacity and finally hit a wall. Let me give you a real example because I think this lands differently when it's concrete. You know those days when you sit down to do one thing, just one, and suddenly you're staring at the wall. Or you've opened 4 browser tabs and closed them all without reading any of them. Or you wrote half an email and then just stopped. That's not laziness. I need you to hear that. That is not laziness. That's what happens when your brain has been making decisions, managing information, holding emotional weight, and trying to regulate itself all at once, and it simply runs out of gas. It's the cognitive equivalent of your phone being at 2% trying to run a video call. Here's the part nobody talks about. It's not just the tasks that exhaust us. It's the mental overhead of managing the tasks, the keeping track of what's been done, what hasn't, what's going to fall apart if you don't get to it, what you told yourself you'd do but didn't. That running mental commentary is its own full-time job, and most of us are working that job on top of our actual jobs, on top of our actual lives. There's also something I want to name. Which is the emotional weight of it, because we talk a lot about productivity and time management, but we almost never talk about what it costs us emotionally to be perpetually behind or perpetually feeling behind, which is often the same experience. There's a kind of low-grade grief that comes with constant overwhelm, a mourning, almost for the version of yourself who is going to be more on top of things, who is going to have a cleaner house, a cleaner inbox, a better routine. And every day that that version doesn't show up is a small loss that you carry quietly without even realizing it. I remember sitting in my car in a parking lot once, and I don't even remember what I was supposed to be doing, and just feeling this wave of exhaustion that I couldn't explain. Nothing was wrong. I was healthy. The people I love were okay. But I was so tired, bone tired. And the only word I had for it was overwhelmed. And it felt like such an insufficient word for what was actually happening inside me. As this is the part nobody is talking about. Nervous system exhaustion is real, and it looks a lot like laziness. It looks a lot like procrastination. It looks a lot like being disorganized or unmotivated or flaky. But underneath all of that is often a system, your actual nervous system, the thing that regulates your stress response, your emotions, your ability to focus. That has just been running in overdrive for too long. When your nervous system is dysregulated, tasks that should feel small feel enormous. Conversations that should feel easy feel loaded. Transitions, like moving from one part of your day to another, feel weirdly hard. And the mental noise of all the things you're supposed to be doing, all the things you forgot, all the things you said you'd get to, it gets so loud. And when the noise gets loud enough, the brain does something completely rational. It freezes. We call it procrastination. We call it avoidance. We call it having a bad day. But a lot of the time, it's just a system that's hit its limit, and it needs something to shift before it can move again. Now, I want to be really honest with you here, because this is something I've had to sit with myself. I used to think the answer was discipline, more willpower, a better planner, a stricter schedule, getting up earlier, going to bed earlier, doing the hard stuff first. All of it. I tried it all. And what I found was that more structure, more pressure, and more trying harder when it's applied to an already exhausted nervous system, it doesn't help. Just gives another layer to fail at. And that failure makes shame, and shame makes the overwhelm worse, which then puts us in a cycle. So if you've tried all the productivity hacks and you still feel like this, I just want to say it's not because you didn't try hard enough. It might actually be because you're trying in a way that isn't built for how you actually function. And I'll be honest, I said that and I laughed at myself a little bit, because how many times have we all downloaded the new planner app, made a beautifully color-coded schedule? I'm a Capricorn, remember that. Felt amazing about it for about 2 days and then just stopped. Is that just me? Okay, the point is, what most productivity culture sells us is discipline as a solution. And discipline has its place. But when you're running on empty, discipline is not a sustainable answer. You can't white knuckle your way out of overwhelm. You can't shame yourself into calm. So, where does that leave us? I think that leaves us in a really important place, actually. The place where we stop trying to fix ourselves and start trying to understand ourselves. Because here's what I genuinely believe. Most people who feel chronically overwhelmed are not broken. They are not lazy. They are not incapable. They are people who are carrying a lot emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically, and they're doing it without the right kind of support. Not support as in other people doing something for them, support as in systems, rhythms, and ways of moving through life, which actually accounts for how much your brain and body are actually handling. That's a different framing. And it's one I want you to hold on to. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are a person with a nervous system that is trying to protect you. And sometimes that protection looks like shutting down or freezing, or suddenly needing to watch 4 hours of TV instead of doing the things you were supposed to do. That's not a character flaw. That's a coping response. And the first step towards anything getting lighter is just naming that. Recognizing that what you're experiencing is real, that the exhaustion is real, that the mental clutter is real, that the freeze is real. You are not making it up. You are human. You are a human being who's tired in a way that runs deeper than sleep. Here's what I want to leave you with today. Relief is possible. Not the I finally have everything under control kind of relief, because I'm not sure that exists in the way that we imagine it, but the quieter kind. The kind where the noise turns down a little, where one part of your day starts to feel like less of a battle, where you stop spending emotional energy on things that have been quietly draining you. That's the kind of relief I've been working toward for myself. And it's the thing I want to keep talking about. So stay with me. We're just getting started. I'm Christina Perry, and this has been another session for your soul.